Welcome to the Bucket List Buster Travel Show. Your Bucket List Buster Travel Show helps you make your bucket list dreams come true. Host Karen Duncan spent decades running the travel business. She, along with other industry experts, share their knowledge, travel stories, and wisdom about how to travel, where to travel, and how to have a stress-free adventure. Tune in, give yourself permission to focus on yourself, create lifelong memories with families and friends, and finally learn to relax, rejuvenate, and reconnect. And here's the host of your show, Karen Duncan.
Aloha, buenos dias, ni hao, yahate, bula, guten tag, bonjour, jumbo, boa tarde, everything's Irie, and good afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Hello, my friends. Karen Duncan here, your Bucket List Buster. Today's show is sponsored by The Wireless Traveler. I sure hope everyone had a fantastic week. I guess I haven't talked to you since... Yes, I have talked to you since New Year's. I'm losing my days here. But I'm so glad the holiday season is over and we can get into the groove. We're about to hit travel season. For us as travel agents, it used to start around February-ish. Now it's like right after the holidays. We're starting to get calls and confirmations and requests and doing lots and lots of research. So today I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about wave season. This is the time of year where the cruise lines do some fantastic promotions because it's slower during this time of year. So from January, right after the holidays, until the week of spring break, it's slow. So they came up with an idea several years back called Wave Season, where they put out promotions to sell last minute cruises, to fill up some of their ships for later in the year, so you can find some really fantastic deals. But the question is, how do you decide which cruise is best for you? And how, as a consultant working on your behalf, how do I help find what's the best cruise for you? Because there are lots and lots of ships out there, there are lots of cruise companies out there, there are lots of amenities and benefits, and I mean, it can be overwhelming. And there are some advantages of working with professionals and narrowing down your options. You need to be honest about what type of things you like and don't like. And if you don't know, then you need to ask the question and let us help you figure out what's correct for you. So let's talk a little bit about how to decide. So where do you want to cruise? That's the first question. It used to be that people decided based on the cruise line and the ship. But because there are so many out there now, the destinations are becoming the big draw. Where in the world have you decided that you would love to see? What area? Because on a cruise, you see more than one destination. So pick an area that you're very interested in and cruise there. I always tell people that, especially people that say they don't know if they want to cruise, they've never cruised before. And my idea about cruising is, first, I absolutely love it, and I need one like right now in my life on my calendar. But cruising is one of those things where you can visit a destination or a port, several ports on a trip, and then you can decide which one of those places you'd like to go back and spend a week or two. There's nothing worse than going to a place and then finding out that you don't like it and you're stuck there for a whole 2 weeks or week vacation. Although I feel that you can find goodness in all places. So, but some people don't like that. So find a cruise that you want to take that will take you to this destination. So the Caribbean continues to be the most popular cruise line, and I must say, this isn't my list. This is thanks to our friends at Insider Travel Report. I get lots and lots and lots of travel news, lots of promotions, anyway, we'll go through that. But the Caribbean continues to be the most popular cruising region right now. Then comes the Mediterranean, and then Alaska. Northern Europe, Southeast Asia, and the South Pacific, and then Arctic and Antarctica. Then next are river cruising companies. They sail to Europe, Egypt, Southeast Asia, India, China, Africa, and now even the US. So when looking for a destination, do I want to go to the Caribbean? That's usually where people start on their very first cruise, to be honest. Then Europe, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, places like that, Japan. My son did that cruise. He worked on a ship that did that region. He said it was magnificent. He liked Vietnam specifically. South Pacific, that's my bucket list, and I'm there. 2020, it's on the calendar. I'm going to finally get to the South Pacific on a cruise. I've done the South Pacific in a fly and hotel resort stay, but I've never done the cruise, so we're going to do that next year. And then the Arctic and Antarctica, if you're interested in that, this is the time of year that you would do that. And that's a big deal because those are destinations that are a little difficult to get to. Only specific ships and companies are allowed to go there. So that one you want to make sure that you plan well in advance. River cruising is huge right now, absolutely huge. I've done one. I didn't think I ever wanted to do one, and I would go in a heartbeat. I'm trying to get my husband to go. I love river cruising. European river cruising is fantabulous. And what's the difference? The difference is the destination is your entertainment, not the ship. So it's smaller ships. You see land the entire time that you're on the ship. All your tours are included, food, alcohol, your beer and wine at dinner and lunch. And you just get to see so much. So river cruising to Egypt, Asia, India, China, Africa, and now, of course, the U.S. Some great ships are doing the U.S. rivers. What type of ship do you want to cruise on? That's the next segue, right? Larger ships feature multiple dining options. So you have casual buffets to sit-down specialty dining that may cost you just a little bit, about $25 a person for some really great. It's a great setting and it's good food. Although I will tell you a little secret: if you're in the main dining hall of a cruise and you would like a steak, specifically from the steakhouse, you can ask for it and they don't charge you for it. That happens on some of the ships. That's our little secret. But anyway, a lot of the ships are now partnering with well-known chefs. They have culinary experts, high cuisine. You get to go sometimes on some of the smaller ships. You get to go and pick your ingredients, smaller luxury lines. They have high-end chefs. The Culinary Association and the food is part of the attractions of these smaller ships. The river cruise lines often have great dining as well and access to local foods and specialties. That's the thing about river cruising. Yes, your food, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner are included, but a lot of times you're not on the ship, or you can choose not to be on the ship, especially at lunchtime, which allows you to eat local fare. And it's so good to be able to taste the local foods of a destination. That's part of the reason we go there, right? So I would recommend that you put that in the budget if you want to do that. Although they get a lot of their food from the local area, so that's what the chef is cooking on board. They don't have the containers to hold the amount of food that the larger cruise lines do. So the food comes local. They a lot of times get the food right there that day while you're in port. So just keep that in mind. You get expanded shore excursions. It's just really, really, really good on the smaller ships. What kind of wine and beer and spirits do you want to drink? Are you a drinker, period? You know, some people, that's very important that the drink package be included in their cruise price. That's a big deal in my house. We like our wine. I like my wine. My husband not necessarily, but he's a big bourbon drinker. He likes bourbon and beer. And so you have to be honest about what it is that you're looking for. Some ships and cruise lines offer vintage wines, craft beers, handcrafted cocktails. You can experience the local cocktails. Some of them have mixologists, sommeliers. Famous brewers are on board nowadays. That's huge. You can tap your own beer, blend your own wine, go to a wine region with lots of history. In fact, that's one of the things we're going to do on the show. I'm getting ready to start a Thirsty Thursday wine down segment where I have a wine specialist come on board and talk about wines of a certain region, and we'll talk about that destination as a region. So that's going to be something new coming to the show in the very near future, but that's a big deal. Wine and beer themed cruises are becoming more and more popular. What kind of onboard entertainment do you like? Broadway shows? Do you like Broadway? There are cruise lines now that have complete Broadway shows. Then they have original production shows. So my son, I tell you, worked on one of the cruise lines, and he's an entertainer, and he was fortunate enough to be in an original production show. And it was really cool because he got to see the process of them creating the show, pitching the show, and then actually doing the show on the ship, and he was in the original cast, which is pretty exciting. Also, ships have comedy acts, musical combos, singers, guitarists, pianists, all kinds of stuff. Some vessels first run movies in dedicated theaters. There are lots of activities on board, game shows, cooking classes, computing instruction, onboard lectures, celebrity-themed cruises, like Oprah has a cruise that she does with Holland America, the Charlie Pride Fan Club, so concerts, all kinds of musical cruises. There's the jazz cruise. We even put a jazz cruise together when we were in Texas out of Galveston one year. So all kinds of themed activities and entertainment while you're on the ships. Now, if you're on the smaller ships, you don't get this kind of entertainment, but they do bring on local entertainment from people that are from the region that do some small acts in a small venue while you're on those ships. Are you interested in adventure or an expedition cruise? Some cruisers aren't interested in large or mid-sized ships. Expedition and adventure cruises tend to be smaller, and they're remote, and they're educational. So those are, it's a specific niche on cruising. So if you're looking for adventure and expedition, the ships are out there, they're smaller. In fact, I was looking at one just the other day, and with G Adventures, by the way, we're going to have on the show next week. But they have a new marine program because they're adventure, soft adventure, and small groups. And they have a marine program now where you can do some expedition and adventure cruises. And one of their ships only held like 26 people, and then one is 64. They go to the Galapagos and they do the Amazon, and so Katie will be on next week to talk a lot about that, and you'll find out. But that's one of the options you have if you're looking for expedition type adventures. Usually they're equipped with zodiacs. They take vacationers on land-based excursions. They stop for water activities such as deep sea snorkeling or diving. And the smaller vessels also allow guests to disembark more frequently, often with 2 or 3 landings or shore excursions